is the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Kingwell and Krissy Vann. That's me. And we're taking you on a little off-roading.
And every single week, we're going to be joined by our dope friend, Richelle from True Grit Moto.
Woo! Hey, I floss.
And every week, we are going to ask each other stupid questions, and we're going to answer them. And why, you may ask? Because we can. All right, this is your Motovation.
Off-road edition. You know what? I had like 2 kosher questions and one that I was like, not safe for work. So let's just explore it and see what happens. I don't know why I'm looking at this like I wrote it down because it's the only one I didn't. Have you ever been caught having sex? Let's hear it.
Like, no, thank God.
Kind of, but no. Like, so first boyfriend, his house, it sounds so weird, and it kind of was the more I look back on it. They had this small little farmhouse. There was no doors on any of the rooms outside of his parents' bedroom. And it was a small little room. Him and his older brother shared a bedroom. He was 19. So his older brother would have been, 20-some when he come home from college, summertime. Anyways, we're upstairs. We're the only 2 up there. And we decide to have sex, but we're got to make it look kind of like we're not, just in case, because someone comes up the stairs, boom, they're like standing in the doorway. And so we had our shirts on and stuff. And then all of a sudden, yep, his mom's like, pitter patter. And she's like, hey guys. And so we're like naked under the blanket, but with our shirts. And I had to pretend like I was groggy from my nap. The good thing is they knew I napped all the time. So at least it looked a little believable. But hi. She's like, oh, supper's almost ready, or whatever it is she was trying to say. And we were trying to position ourselves too, that it looked like we were naturally just like cuddled in a napping position, not like in a, having sex position. And she was like, okay, so come on down soon. We will be right down. Yeah, you betcha. We'll just be right down. Give us a minute. Just gotta still wake up. And, headed back downstairs. And I just remember being like, oh my God. And like, we're
They know.
Oh, she had no idea. Nope.
Wow.
She had
that's nice for you.
Or didn't show it on her face at all. But really, I think they had no idea because it was just, and actually probably didn't even care if we were. But yeah, that was the closest that we've come. Other than that, though, I've caught people having sex by accident, like my roommates. I busted in the room because I was like, "Do you hear these neighbors upstairs and their footprints?" And we're like, because they were stomping, and I walked in on her and her boyfriend, and I was like, "Oh my God." But I've never been the person on the other side.
Yeah, I can't say the same.
Yeah, I felt like you and Gab for sure have been busted.
Like in my mind, I'm like 3, and I can start with like the least mortifying to the most.
Yeah,
so
most for sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna make you wait for most because it's bad. So number 1, least, being on a beach vacation. You know how they always have the loungers on the beach, and then you're out for a late night walk, and then you're having sex on the beach, as one does. We'll say, watch out for the sand. You want to use that lounger. And literally finished the land and look up, and there was just like the security guard. Creepy, right?
Oh God.
Creepy.
I know. But he probably enjoyed the show. Beautiful starry night, whatever. Good for you. Number 2, when we were younger, as people do, you don't really have a destination to go. So we used to we literally would tally what cars we had conquered, because his dad would get so many rental cars when he was home. We'd be like, haven't done the Sienna. And so we had this little spot by, it sounds bad, but it was near a cemetery, but not a recent one. It was Colonel John Butler type shit. And
oh my gosh.
people would also skateboard and hike down there. But anyways, we basically got busted by a group of skateboarders. It was just Gav's butt in the window. And then I was just mortified, just fully naked, being oh God. And then there was the incident that I still wonder just how much recollection there is for the other party involved. So we came home from a night out drunk, and his parents at the time lived in a semi. And so the house had a little basement with a TV. You'd come up through the kitchen. There was a little living room, and then you'd go up to the bedrooms. And his dad worked away a lot. So oftentimes it was just his mom home. So we come home after the bar, obviously feeling frisk. For some reason, we decide who's going to make it up to the bedroom. So I'm quite literally pants to my ankles over the couch behind, and like the couch was like moving. And all we hear is his dad in the doorway, have a little respect used to, and then just walks around and goes up.
Oh
up to the
my
bedroom.
God.
So like, I was like, I can never like, if you've ever felt in your life just wanting to like shrink into your environment and just melt into the couch, like that's what I wanted. And I remember the next morning, I was like, I can't go downstairs. Like there's no way I can face this in my life. And it was hilarious because quite literally, like day goes on, no one speaks of this. And his dad bought tons of beer and my favorite wine in the fridge and was just like, I went to the liquor store for yous. And it was like a truce where no one would speak of this ever again.
Yeah, that was a no. That was a we don't.
Oh, that
talk
for
about
sure
this.
was a truce.
My question is, did you guys end right then, or did you keep going? Did you?
It was over. It was
Yeah, the
over.
sexual. I was like, that'd be weird. That'd be weird if you
I,
guys
like-
were like, ooh, you're like, I'm even more turned on.
Yeah, I literally was like, I guess it was a really great relationship. I think we're done here. Like, it was awful. Awful.
Oh, that is mortifying. That is.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, so one of a buddy of mine went home together one night, and his mom that always knew me, right? And I had a great relationship with her because I kind of knew her as growing up, but as a teenager and so forth. And this was like Dave. Anyways, and it was super like no strings attached, just one of those nights. But we were drunk, and his parents are in the next bedroom because we were just in that spare bedroom because he didn't live there anymore, blah, blah, blah. And in the morning he got up and I could hear her be like, yeah, and whatever girl you brought home, you can like ask her to leave. He was so pissed off that. And then I heard him be like, Mom, it's Laurie. She's like, what? She's like, Kingwell, it's Laurie Kingwell. And she was like, oh, do you want to, do you want to see if she wants breakfast?
Aww.
And he was like, yeah. So, but it was like, but I knew that she had heard. So it was that awkwardness of like coming out, and I'm like, oh, hi.
Hey.
She's like, oh, hi. And it was so weird. We just both just pretended it didn't happen. You could tell shortly after we went back to our usual, comfortability with each other. But it was definitely when I heard that pissed off voice and then the just, does she want breakfast?
That's so good.
Oh man, yeah.
Well done.
Okay.
Nice.
Well done, team.
I think you just keep that streak alive, Richelle. It's not the most comfortable experience when that transpires.
Oh,
just
yeah.
saying.
I don't know what I would do. I'm so proud of you guys, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Still, this many years later, it haunts me sometimes.
Imprints on the old brain, I tell you that much.
Yeah.
If you could relive one day from the past year, one of your favorite days, what would it be?
I love that there's so many that come to mind
know.
instantly.
That's such a good question. I would probably go back to the very first day of walking up onto the second level of the shop when I had done that and finished it. That was such a triumphant moment. Followed by my very first successful day in the work van. So epic.
Yeah.
For me. That would be it for me. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I'm just like, there's so many.
It's tricky because it's also, and we are like, in what context, right? Too.
Yes, because I'm torn. Like, I went up on Garibaldi later in the season, and it was just after like a lot of transformation personally and a little bit of like mental struggle at the time and anxiety, and just being up there on a bluebird day and sitting in the water and like, you know, those moments where you can mentally take yourself back there. I'm just glad that I have another collection of those to add to the bucket. And then I'm like, there were a lot of good fucking memories with people. Like, I just think just the genuine elation and laughter of like a dream roll or one Moto show sticks in my mind. And like, honestly, I feel like spoiled for choice. Quitting my job, like that was, I felt high. Right. I felt high for 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
It's very empowering.
That's huge.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to, right. It's totally hard to pick one because you look and you're like, oh, in context of, which is pretty.
It's a great year.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to do one of those recap videos and there's only so many photos that you can fit in the template. And I was at March. Yeah. And then to be honest, I like checked myself in that moment and I was like, fucking right. Like, this is, and I do really like to document things. I know that for some people it's a divisive topic. I think I'm very good at capturing a little bit and then putting my shit away. I really enjoy capturing the moment for other people and getting candids. It's just, I don't know. I love that.
And I think before social media, even like, I know I carried my camera everywhere with me in high school. And I've got photo books from college and things. So it's not anything to do with social media. I same thing, whether it's journaling, whether it's or taking pictures and capturing the moments. And you're the same with journals and stuff. So I'm like, I think in a different way, in a different meaning, it's an issue. But I think you and I are very similar in the sense where we'll always want to capture that to be able to fondly look back on.
Exactly. And I was just like, even like the low points and the high points, I was just like, this is pretty amazing. Like between community, the nature we have access to, and people we love, I don't know, cupful.
Yeah. For me, it would be, there's a same kind of thing, right? When I was trying to think of like a one day, you think, oh, there's one of the days at Dream Roll. Like I think of a specific day or Portland or, any one of our kind of get together, the Christmas party or those things. So those ones are like that obvious immediate hit of, or our girlfriends being together from back home and blah, blah, blah. But I think if I had to do one day because of this last year, I would definitely relive the last time my auntie and I like sat on the couch, really like giggling together and just like holding hands and just like laughing at the stupidest things, you know what I mean? Which would have been about realistically, like when we really, really just laughed together was probably, she's been gone now for 3 months. So I would have to say probably 3 months prior to that, because it got really scary, right? So it was really difficult for her to be in that space in her mind, to really just let herself go. But like if I really had to live 1 year out of this last year, you're just like, oh yeah, like I'd live one of those again for sure.
And you know what's nice? That's like a shared moment, but seeing it in another person, like as you say that, it makes me think of, I took my mom to the Pitbull concert and she loves Pitbull. She's like 67, fucking loves it. And like, we were like away from the crowd and what have you, but like just the joy of seeing someone else let go and have joy. And I'm sure for yourself, similarly, like that's probably what you fed off the most in that moment is experiencing their joy. And I'm like, isn't that beautiful that it's not even for ourselves, but when you experience someone else have that up moment.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy that we've had such low lows this year with such high highs.
Yeah.
Oh, the most intense I've ever experienced in a 12-month period. Or I guess a little bit prior to that, the 14th month. Well, we could go, but you know what I mean? Like, without a doubt, like beyond anything.
You need the contrast. That's the thing, right? Like that's literally. I
take a little less contrast.
Fair.
But I do need the contrast. But that's just the way it goes. That is the way it goes. Like some years are tougher than other years. And this might not be my toughest, or this might be the toughest. I don't know. But at the same token, for all of us, like Richelle, you had a crazy, crazy tough year last year as well that like stretched you further than you thought possible from our conversations. And, but look at where you've landed also too, in the sense, you know, like, my God, you're off to Mexico for a
I
month
know.
and some, and it, you know, to go have an adventure down there and see what, you know, types of work and business drum up. And just, would that have happened if you had the shop? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like as soon as that one door opens and you're like, oh, this is going to be a wild ride. I can't wait to see what good luck comes from it. We're going to make it. We're going to pivot this bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grit.
Cool.
You got the
Cool.
grit.
We got the grit, man. Okay.
This will be like our last question, I think, wouldn't it?
I think this is kind of like a cool final topic, but like date nights as one does these days, like we have actually found like a lot of enjoyment from just going to a random movie here and there, and we ended up getting scene points. And the last time I actually went to the theater closest to me here, I was just walking one day and it just happened to pass by the theater. And so I was like, I'm going to go in by myself and just see what's there. And one of the main actors from, what do you call it? Stranger Things. One of the actors from Stranger Things was sitting there waiting for his ID because he couldn't get into the movie because he looked too young, and he was like waiting for his ID up at the front. Yeah. And so I texted Megan, was like, oh, this guy's here. And she was like, oh my God, what? And so that was a really cool experience. And I really do find that the movies, they also remind me of my father. We used to go to movies and he would fall asleep. And that was actually one of the last things that me and my dad did is out in Coquitlam, we went and saw a movie. He fell asleep. And when we got out, it had snowed. And so we had a snowball fight in the parking lot. Yeah. So I love the movies, and I'm so glad that it's like still a thing. I don't know what I would do if theaters closed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. How do you guys feel about the movies? Krissy, I hear you're not too big into them, but
I'm like, you know what? So my equivalent to that, when you were like, oh, a random date night or what have you, like, honestly, I love live production of any kind. And the biggest thing that I do for a similar price point in the city is comedy that we have out here, whether it's improv or stand up. For $18, it's like so many comics, really, really indie venues, like one's at the Welsh Hall up the street, which is Jokes Please. My other one was in the back, a Holy Chow restaurant. And I'm like, I get a lot out of that live environment because they're just kind of in the hot seat. And even when they bomb, I love the like collective, we're all here for it and supporting you silently, even though we're not laughing because it's not funny. It maybe was a miss. Like, it's just so good and organic. So it's experiences like that I gravitate to more than the theater.
Yeah.
But I can understand,
cool.
like, I mean, the theater, I don't know why. I've been like that since I think it's because I have to pee so much, honestly. It gives me anxiety.
That's fair. What about you, Laurie?
I love it. I love the theater. I always have as a kid, we had our one or two theaters, but you'd always go on with your buddies. It was like a big deal when you go with your little friends. It's your first night out on your own was when your parents dropped you off at the movies and you had like 2 hours to yourself. And like your little dates were like, is he going to hold my hand or not going to hold my hand? Or I remember we'd go to like the midnight movies and the whole like young crew in the town would go and you'd hear beer bottles rolling, and then you get a couple of rowdies that threw the beer bottles at the screen, and we're like, no, that's gonna. But like, there's so many fun memories growing up around the movie theater. And then Dave and I definitely both really love going and watching a movie. I just love how I get like really immersed, right? Like most do, where once it's like happening, you're just 2 hours is just boom, you're in that flow state. And I really like going on really rainy days when you kind of don't feel like doing much of anything, but you do want to get out of the house. Then I really like going to an afternoon matinee. But yeah, I'm completely in on the movie theater.
Did you guys have drive-ins?
No.
Langley has a drive-in. We used to go to that all the time.
I fucking loved the drive-in. Like, that's my teen movie, the drive-in. And like, they would always play the corny, let's go to the lobby. And I'm like, I loved that they,
Yeah.
Oh, I missed out on that. They had one in Saskatoon, but our parents didn't like us, so they didn't take us.
So have you never been to a drive-in, Laurie?
I don't think so. I know that there's been numerous times where like it looked like it was on the cusp it was like, we almost did one this Halloween. Hocus Pocus was going to be one. And then just ended up not working out with timing and stuff like that. But it's always been like on the cusp, like my whole life, even in college, they were like big driving night. And then I don't know, I probably got drunk somewhere and forgot to go at college, but it just was a happy thing where I never actually made it, but I would love to go.
We should definitely try and make it happen this summer.
Down to town.
Yeah, definitely.
Ride out and just stand on our motorcycles.
Yeah. Bring some sleeping bags on it and just all bundle up.
Yeah.
We were going to do it with your truck one time, I thought. I don't know if I made that up in my mind.
No, we were going to do one with the Chevy for sure. And we were going to fill it with a bunch of blankets and pillows.
Yes. Okay.
We should still dial that. Like everybody ride and I'll pack all the comfy shit in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll just make it happen. Yeah, it'll be fun.
2023.
Down.
2023. Here we go.
Okay, friends.
sounds
Is
weird,
that
That's a wrap.
a wrap?
The wrap.
2022 as of last night. That is a wrap.
Woohoo!
But you'll be hearing this episode much later, so that'll seem weird, but that's fine. It's fine.
We do weird here.
Yeah.
Let's be weird. Okay, well, I love you guys. Have a good
Love
night.
you guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You just went off-roading with the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and myself, Krissy Vann.
And of course, a special thank you to Richelle from True Get Moto.
Whoop, boss it.
Never miss an episode by hitting like or subscribe. Connect with us on Instagram at Motovation Podcast and visit our website at themotovation.com. And in the meantime, full tanks, full throttle.
I think this is good though. It's like healthy, you know? Like people will be like, oh my God, I don't floss.
Plus, it'd be so hard not to laugh to get through this intro.